Yes, Pokemon. That their voices have become legendary. Please welcome Tara Sands and Megan Hollingshead. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Shall I sit?
Sit with me.
You can sit next to you. Whatever you want. I am very flexible. Oh yeah, that's even better. Even better.
Okay.
Great. Hello, everybody. Are we having a good Comic-Con? It means it's hard to see in the darkness, but they're all very happy.
Prove it. We're very happy, that's for sure. Hi, guys.
It's great to have you.
Thank you. We've experienced a very warm welcome from Utrecht. Yes.
Oh yes, we are very warm people. Culturally, we are very warm people. That's kind of a lie, actually.
Really? No one's been too jerky.
Yeah, we're kind of like
Not
Germans.
too many jerks.
I don't wanna insult anybody, but we're kind of like Germans. You know Germans? But they're also very nice.
Little
warm. Anyway.
Right. Well,
You're gonna get canceled.
No, I'm just gonna get canceled. That's fine. Yeah, I mean we're gonna talk, and that is something you do professionally, right?
We do. We talk professionally.
And that's what you do all day, so you're not going to have any trouble talking with me.
We'll see. We like when people write down what we should say.
Oh,
Yeah.
So let's see what happens when it's
We
us.
usually follow a script, so.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Well,
saying.
Sometimes my script just says Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
anybody ever heard of Bulbasaur?
No?
Yes.
No.
Heard of it.
Okay.
Yes, we have some hands.
You.
People know Bulbasaur. Yeah, another one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy. Is it weird to be able to talk in your normal voice in a professional capacity right now? Or is it just...
No, talking in my normal voice is pretty fine unless it's a character. And I find that the characters who have my voice, as opposed to Nurse Joy or My Valentine, are actually harder to do. I feel like I don't have a hook to grab onto.
Okay. And you know each other pretty well, right? I mean, you've been doing cons together for a while. You slept on her couch for a while?
Good.
We're friends in real life.
I did. I went back and forth to New York, and at one point I didn't have a place in LA, so I slept on Tara's couch.
Well, a lot of the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cast, we all did the show. We were in our 20s. We didn't know really anything about anime. So a lot of us became very close as a result of that. You know, we've known each other for so long, which is really nice.
Yeah, it was a magical time when we did Pokemon.
I hope there's still magical times right now. I know.
This
Conventions is fun as well, right?
Oh, it's a totally different thing, but we work individually. We work one person at a time in the booth with a director, with an engineer. Sometimes I work at home and I have to be my own engineer sometimes. But so working alone, we don't get to meet the rest of the community. We don't get to meet the audience until we come to events like this, and it's amazing.
I'm wondering, because we have a Dutch version of Pokemon as well. Has anybody here seen Pokemon in English? Yeah, okay, so that's good. So if
they had said no, this would have been a short.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Yu-Gi-Oh? Was there a Dutch version of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't know, is there a Dutch version of Yu-Gi-Oh? No!
No, so you watched Yu-Gi-Oh in English? Yeah? Okay, good.
Okay. So, if you were able to do the Dutch version of Pokemon, would you try?
I'll audition for anything.
I know 3 words in Dutch.
Oh.
Okay. I know verdammt. Wait, did I say it wrong? Wait.
One more time.
Bedankt.
Yeah, bedankt. Yes.
I know
yes.
bedankt. I know minuten. And I know stroopwafel.
Yeah.
So if the whole script for Pokemon in Dutch was those 3 words, I would definitely audition.
You would nail it.
Yeah.
You would nail it.
I mean, I could write that script for you. It's not that hard. It's so I was looking for stuff you both acted in, and I figured out you both worked for Saints Row. Is that true?
Oh gosh, I did very little. Yeah, but I did very little in that.
I'm 5. Did the characters have numbers in that one? I get mixed up. Yeah, I'm 5.
That was wow. We were probably in more things together than we actually know.
Right.
Because we don't really compare notes like that.
No.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
funny.
we were both in Pokemon. We were both in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Bleach. We're both in
Both
Bleach.
in Bleach.
Oh wait, he did his research. Wait, you tell us.
No. That's more. I only figured out Saints Row. That's all.
Really? Oh, well,
We're both in Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem.
Oh
Does
wow.
anyone play Fire Emblem? No.
No Fire Emblem.
Someone there
I
in
see
the back.
one person.
Yeah, and I played Fire Emblem as well.
Oh, 2 people.
Oh, nice.
Okay, good.
Love Fire Emblem. Very tactical, very interesting. Also great characters, by the way. You remember your character name in Fire Emblem?
Yes, I was Sonia.
Okay.
I was Ilger and Yoon and Ev.
Wow. Did you ever have a scene where you had to talk to yourself?
That's my favorite thing to do.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah. Not in Fire Emblem. Did you have to talk to yourself in Fire Emblem?
Not in Fire Emblem, but in Bleach.
Oh, you do? And Jujutsu Kaisen, I get to talk to myself.
Really?
And it's so much fun.
Do they like schedule it that you can like do those lines after one another, so you can actually talk to yourself?
No, they do one at a time. I would prefer to do it back and forth, but we do one whole pass of Udahime, and then we go back, and then we do a whole pass of Momo.
Yeah, that makes more sense actually.
Not for you.
Yeah, same. In Bleach, I actually fought myself as Rangiku and Apache. And fighting, there was a lot of yelling. And yelling is a little harder to distinguish between 2 voices.
Yes.
So we did a lot of passes of yelling and then listening and then yelling more in a different pitch.
That's so true.
But it's fun. It's fun to listen to. I actually enjoy it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Is it fun to yell as well?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's fun when I'm totally engaged in the character. Then everything is fun. You know, yelling and fighting, it can be really cool. Yelling is hard on our voices, so it's hard not to think of that as we go and be like, hey guys, I can only do 1 or 2 more takes before my voice is totally gone.
And then you're out of a job, right? If you don't have a voice.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you have like work the next day, it's tricky.
Yeah.
Of course, this is a Q&A, people, so if you have a question, please stand in line in front of the microphone. We have somebody who will guide you through the process. What storyline of which show you have been in or are currently in were you most invested in? Were you like, oh, I want to know what happens next?
It's often when your character kind of disappears that you want to know that, like when you do a small role and then you're like, oh, but they're gone now. Or like for me, I end up dying a lot. Like when you're an anime actor, you die so frequently that like you get good at dying noises, you get like, so part of me is like, oh, but I would like to know more about, like I did one episode of My Hero Academia. I was so excited to be part of it. And then they're like, we're so sorry, you're gonna die. And I wanted to like know more about her and invest in that. So it's like when we do other things where we get to fill out the storyline, like, you know, we did Yu-Gi-Oh! For years and we got to learn all about these characters. So for me, it's the shorter characters that I'm more curious about.
Do you have a favorite dying noise you make?
I can't subject these people to, it's that last breath, it's the, the very end.
That sounds like a pretty quick death. You don't like slow deaths, like really
Oh, yeah.
theatrical.
Yeah.
Well, usually we have to say dialogue, so it's like, I never meant to hurt you. It's a lot of that, yeah.
Oh well, that reminds me of a song. Oh, anyway. Is it true, Tara, that your very first voice role was a wart cream commercial?
Seriously, that's where we're going? Yeah, my very first voiceover job, I was in high school. Do you call it secondary here? Secondary, what do you call
We
it?
call it middelbare school.
What?
Middelbare school, toch? High school, middelbare school, am I right?
That's what I was
Okay,
gonna say.
I can't pronounce that, but
No, that's fine.
Don't make me. I'll embarrass myself. So in what we call high school, I started auditioning, and my very first voiceover audition was for wart cream, very fancy, and I booked the job, and I was like, I got to say something like, "Ew, gross, a wart," and I guess I did it okay.
I'd cast you.
Thank you very much.
Was one of your first jobs a commercial as well, or where did you begin?
No, I had done theater and mostly for no or little money. And then a friend said, "Do you want to audition for a weird Japanese cartoon?" And I said, "Oh yes, yes I do." And it turned out to be Pokemon. So crazily enough, Pokemon was my first job, and yes, it was an accurate description. I had never seen anime at that point, so I had a lot to learn.
But you did the actual human characters, not the Pokemon themselves, right? Or did you
Correct.
do them as well?
I did the occasional Pokemon if they just had one or two lines. It wasn't until Pokemon Journeys that I was cast as Morpeko. And that's when I learned how hard it is to play a Pokemon. Doesn't it seem like it'd be fun? You'd just be like, Pikachu, Pika Pika. Well, you do, but you have to match when Pikachu has its mouth open. And for the characters, like the engineer syncs it up. So there's a time code and there's beeps and it all makes sense.
Written to work.
It's written to work. And then Bulbasaur, they just are like, okay, Bulbasaur's mouth moves, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to chase it. And I'm like,
Sometimes our scripts would just say DYB, and that meant do your best.
Wow, that's not very specific.
No.
it meant that the writer gave up.
Yeah. All right, we have a question from the audience. Hello.
Hi,
What's your name?
Viv.
Hello. Please, what do you want to ask Megan or Tyra both?
The question I would like to pose is the following. I mean, have you seen any, no, let me rephrase the question. Do you think that the role and the representation of women or females in anime can be improved, and how can this be realized? Or have you already seen an improvement or a trend as such in the past years?
That's a great question.
It's really good. I mean, it has, from our perspective, it has to start in Japan. You know, we don't have that many options. I was very proud to play both my Valentine and Rangiku Matsumoto because they are tough as nails and sexy and funny. So I'm very proud of that. But there's, you know, 1/10 of the women in anime that there are men, unless it's a sexy harem anime. So I don't know, has it changed a lot? I'd be interested in knowing what people thought. I know that some of the stuff in Pokemon wouldn't fly, I don't think, like Brock's glomming on to Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny without their mutual interest or consent. I hope that if they redid it, that would be gone. There's a lot to think about, and anime still has a long way to go.
Thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Next question, please. Hello.
Hi, Tara. Hi. The first question is for you, Tara. On Star Wars Day, I saw that you shared a reel where you were interviewing George Lucas.
Oh,
What's
yes.
that about? I thought it was like very short, and I'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Yes, so he asked about a clip I put on Instagram where I'm interviewing George Lucas. The answer is I hosted a TV show that was only in the States called Fridays, where it was on Cartoon Network in the US, and we used to introduce the cartoons, but also as part of that job we got to do movie junkets. So it's part of a longer interview with George Lucas that I did put on my YouTube channel. If you want to see more of that, it's YouTube. Come to my table. So I'll give you a card. Megan and I are signing in Hall 10 today with the Collector's Store. So if you have any follow-up questions or questions like that, so it's on YouTube. You can watch Friday's clips, but interviewing George Lucas was the coolest thing ever. And I got to ask him, I got questions from kids to ask him, and one of them, the one you saw, was, is Yoda a mammal? And he took a very roundabout way of kind of not really answering the question, as he does, which was very George Lucas. And the funny part was we were at his ranch for the convention, for the movie junket at Skywalker Ranch. So we're sitting on barrels of hay inside a barn interviewing George Lucas, which was crazy. Thank you for asking about that.
And for Megan, in Pokemon, which voice is your favorite to do? Which for Pokemon or Cassidy or Nurse Joy?
Well, Nurse Joy is my first character, so I will always love her. That said, as an actor, she doesn't offer much to sink your teeth into. Yeah. Every Pokemon Center, it's the same. Your Pokemon will be just fine.
Wow.
But I did love Cassidy. I'm glad you mentioned her. For that one, they were like, come up with a voice that sounds like Rachel Willis as Jessie, but not. And I was like, okay. So I did my best imitation of Rachel, and then I had just seen a movie called His Girl Friday, which was made in like the 40s. And so I had a very I was ready to go with a very sassy 1940s girl. So I mixed those two, and I had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Did you audition for Cassidy, or did they?
No, it was only 2 episodes. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions. So, there's a lot of fanboys, fangirls, and people who stand stuff here. I understand that, Tara, your original fandom was musicals, is that right?
Oh yeah, I'm a music. Most of you guys heard Wicked before, because there was the cosplayer, and we were singing it backstage. But yeah, I'm a musical theater total dork. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite musical?
Into the Woods, probably. Anything Sondheim. Yeah.
We have some Into the Woods fans there, or am I right?
I love when I see musical theater cosplay at Comic-Cons. Recently, I've seen a bunch of Hamilton, and I saw a Sweeney Todd at a convention, and I was psyched. Wow. Yeah, that's my jam.
And that's a movie as well, right? So that's kind of cheating.
You know, first. No one saw that movie anyway.
Johnny Depp.
That's Tim Burton.
A lot of people ask how to get into voice acting, and most of us came in it through theater, and specifically musical theater. A lot of people, because you've already learned how to use your body and your voice to open up a character, to create a character. You also have the skills to look at a piece of paper with words on it and make it interesting and really flesh out those characters.
So am I right, Megan, that the movie that really got you into entertainment was Raiders of the Lost Ark? Is that one of your...
Oh my gosh!
You really did research, and I really respect that.
Bravo. Yeah, so I was a huge fangirl. I loved Star Trek and Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I wanted to crawl into Raiders of the Lost Ark and live there. I read a book called The Making of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I was like, oh, there's a whole industry, and it sounds like fun. So I started studying theater, filmmaking, acting, and I think the most relatable part of my journey thus far has just been watching where the tide turns. I don't know if that's an expression, but being willing to follow the next curve and being like, oh, okay, I work in a theater during the day, and at night I'm an actress, and oh, I have an audition for a voiceover, okay. Things have just flowed.
How stressful is it to be on stage in a theater? How stressful is that for you still? If you've been doing it for a while, I guess?
We haven't done it in a long time. Yeah.
Really?
It's terrifying to be backstage, waiting to go on. I've found myself in my head going, I wish this got canceled so I didn't have to do it. But then once you're on stage, you have so much to do, lines and movements and interacting with other characters. The fear, if it's there, it goes to the back because there's just more to occupy my brain.
So, Tara, you have a podcast. It's called 4 Kids Flashback.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning. So,
Tell me about it.
For those of you that grew up with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And the original One Piece dub that was not the one you watch today, and Shaman King, and those all came from a company called 4 Kids. And I get asked about that a lot at conventions, and I wasn't able, they'd ask me about the censorship at 4 Kids, like why did they turn the guns into lollipops, things like that. And the cigarette into lollipops. And on Yu-Gi-Oh, why did they call it the Shadow Realm and not just say dead? And all these questions about the company I couldn't answer. And so I decided to start a podcast where I basically interview everyone I can who worked there. I interviewed Megan, I interviewed all the actors, like Dan Green, who played Yugi on Yu-Gi-Oh, but also the writers and producers and behind the scenes people. Megan co-hosts with me sometimes, and we're getting the questions answered. So it's 4 Kids Flashback, the number 4 Kids Flashback.
Because you have access to all of those people, of course. They probably like you a lot as well, right?
Who?
You have access to all of those folks that working on the...
Right, which is what made it, the actors at least, it made it easier to contact. But I still hit a lot of dead ends because we didn't know a lot of the staff at the thing, so I felt like a detective trying to figure out who made what decisions. And, I found the guy who was in charge of home video, and there were these limited edition Yu-Gi-Oh! DVDs that they made, and we got to find out about those because that was a question we kept getting asked. Why did those end? And so we got to talk to the guy.
Okay, we're almost out of time. I have one last question for you, Megan. But luckily, you will be back tomorrow on the main stage. So if you're here for the entire weekend, please join us again tomorrow at a time.
A time to be announced.
A time. I don't memorize stuff really well. Megan, you returned to your role as Nurse Joy after 25 years, right? But your voice has changed in that time, I'm guessing. Was it hard to return to that role?
It was a little bit because I overcompensated. A fan recently said, "Why did you make Nurse Joy so young the second time around?" Fear is why I made her so young. Yeah, it was easy to step into the character, but yeah, I had used something closer to my natural voice in the beginning, and then when I came back to it, I felt like I had to put something extra on there.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the stage.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
It was lovely to have you.
Thanks for being here.
Give them a big round, everybody.
Hall 10, come hang out. In Hall 10, it's the best.
Yeah,
Really cold.
Yeah.
in Hall 10.
we're kind of hidden. We're in the collector store.
Inside the booth. You have to like walk in and find us.
All right.
Thank
Please visit
you.
them and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sarah Sands and Megan Hollingshead, everybody.